Welcome back to Batch Shots with Elmo. Let's get into this week's episode. Week six. Week six. We are almost to the finish line. We are almost to hometowns. I had to take a beat this episode because one, it's Black History Month. Two, here we go again with the drama. Like, it won't ever stop. But anyways, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about all of the ups and all of the downs. So let's jump in. So, we open up the night leaving off from the last episode where we saw Jasenia and MJ go in for a basically one-on-one, or I should say two-on-one date where one of them goes home. And Matt grabs Jasenia first and then grabs MJ. Let me just say, MJ, this whole preaching moment about bringing harmony to the house, I don't know where she got that from, because before Jasenia put her on blast, like, we never heard that. Like, you were not the center for harmony, MJ. We love you. Stay in your lane, but it's a bit of a stretch. So Jasenia talked to Matt and basically said that MJ was the person starting the whole bullying thing. And then, MJ spoke to Matt and basically saying that, she just never fessed up to, I guess, her part in it with Matt. So I think that was the main issue. And according to Matt, he's right. Jasenia has no reason to lie to him. So why would she just make up the story? I think, unfortunately for MJ, even though I saw that they did have a connection, it just wasn't going to work because MJ, she just would never own up to her own part in it. And to be honest, I was just sitting there like, really, why is Jasenia and MJ fighting, and why are we watching this two-on-one? Like, again, I said this last week, MJ is as guilty as the entire house. Like, she's as guilty. I don't care if she made up a phrase. She's as guilty as the entire house. And we saw this week still little craziness with Serena P acting up. And the girls, they still have, like, there's some of that cattiness, Serena C and Serena P, like both of them. So do I put, quote unquote, the bullying past MJ? Like, if I feel like if I have to let MJ slide, then I have to let the whole house slide. If I have to send MJ home, you might as well send the whole house home. What are we doing at this point? But Jasenia said what she said and MJ went home. Now, I thought it was interesting that MJ felt that she needed to make sure she told us that she had a weak bitch moment. And Jasenia clapped back and said, weak bitches lie. Child, I fell out of my seat. I said, Jasenia, you better get it, girl. You better get it, Jasenia. Oh my gosh, Jasenia was not playing with anybody. She was like, oh, you're going to say this? I'm going to definitely come back with something. And you better be prepared for it because I'm spitting nothing but facts, okay? So switching gears a little bit, I'm going to talk about the drama, or I should say the made upness. I don't know what's going through Serena C's mind. I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't know if it's insecurity. I don't know what this girl is on. But if we actually go back to some of the previous episodes, Serena C was in those mixes of conversations of kind of not having the most nicest things to say about the new girls. So she is kind of on the cusp of that mix of mean girls in a way. I actually like Serena C, so it's unfortunate that she's like now been caught up in kind of saying these mean comments that she clearly knows she's saying and she's not taking back. But we did see this episode that she felt it necessary to pull Katie aside and address Katie as if Katie is the reason that all of this time is being taken away. I guess she feels that's been taken away from her to address drama in the house. Now let me just rewind really quick. Does Serena C not recognize that if there was no drama to begin with, there would be no drama to resolve? Meaning, if there was no bullying in the first place, there would be no bullying to resolve, therefore you would have gotten your time. But since girls wanted to gang up and bully the new girls coming in, that situation had to be resolved. So I don't understand why she's trying to come to Katie now and point Katie as the point person for all of the drama. I think she said Katie was lighting fires, all these drama fires everywhere. I'm like, Serena C, are we on the same show that you're on? Like, girl, at least from what we're seeing, Katie went to Matt to resolve some of the drama. It got so bad. These girls were crying. These girls were hurt. I mean, victimized. You touching someone's head? Like, what? No, like, Serena C, that's not okay. Like, I thought that conversation with Katie was completely unnecessary, unwarranted. Nobody asked you to go have a conversation. And then you have the nerve to go downstairs to the other girls and then lie on Katie. Katie said no such thing, that she didn't want to be there, that she wasn't there for the right reasons. Like, I cannot believe what I'm watching. Serena C, like, this is not okay. This is just another form of bullying. And quite frankly, I'm tired of seeing it. You're tired of the drama? Stop creating drama. Oh my goodness. Like, can we just have one episode without drama? Oh my gosh. Like, I just don't feel, why does Serena C feel like this? I don't know. I just feel like she's starting up drama for no reason. And bravo, Katie. Bravo. You walked away like, this is unnecessary. I don't argue with fools because you get nowhere. You get nowhere. So shout out to Katie for once again putting the big girl pants on, standing up for herself, and walking away and not entertaining that frivolous conversation. It just was unnecessary. Oh, and one other comment that Serena C mentioned was that Katie was calculated. I'm like, how is Katie calculated by telling Matt what's going on in the house about other girls getting bullied? I'm like, I just feel like I'm hearing Victoria all over again. Like, I haven't heard the word calculated since Victoria left. Like, please stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Like, I think I was on Twitter and someone also said, like, it was like a picture of Serena C and it was like someone has adopted the soul of Victoria or something. I thought it was funny, but I'm just like, Serena C, stop making yourself look crazy, because I feel like she looks crazy. And I also feel like a little bit of that crazy is coming from her insecurities about where her relationship is with Matt. So, yeah. And I did also like the fact that Katie called Serena C out and said, hey, if you have a problem or you don't like the way that the decisions are going or the time is being spent, you can take that up with Matt, which is exactly what Serena C should do, is take it up with Matt, because this is not Katie's issue. So when she was saying that Katie was calculated, she said that, I guess when Katie bought the dildo, that she said she has this whole sex positivity thing, as if sex positivity was a bad thing. It's like, Serena C, don't shame women for being proud and being loud about wanting to talk about sex. We have enough issues. Chill the fuck out. Like, I just thought that was crazy. Women can talk about whatever the heck we want to talk about in public, in private, because guess what? We have a right to free speech. So, like, don't shame her for being proud about speaking about sex. Like, is she serious? No, Serena C. I'm also going to say that throughout the episode, I was just like, really? Why are we doing this filler of Heather? Like, I just felt like there were sprinkles where it was just like, oh, let's just insert video of Heather here. I was like, what is going on? Like, we see Heather pulling up. We see Heather in her hotel room. We see Heather balancing a pizza box on her head. We see Heather putting on her shoes. I mean, what is this? Like, ABC, what are we watching? Like, we don't need the clips of Heather giving us a testimonial from her own personal device. Like, we don't need that. Like, please stop. I just felt like the Heather pieces of the episode were just filler. I will talk about Heather a little bit later, but I just felt like all of the other stuff, I'm like, we're watching Heather balance a pizza box on it. Like, what am I doing with my time? Like, speed it up. Like, I just was like, this is crazy. I think they just needed some little filler for that episode to stretch out the rest of the film that they have. But I was like, this is totally unnecessary. And also what was unnecessary was Chris Harrison pretending like he didn't know Heather was coming. Oh, cut me a break. We've been doing this show how long? Chris Harrison knew she was coming. Like, no one just surprises and walks up on an entire production team. Like, let's be clear. Come on. Chris Harrison. You know, Chris Harrison, bravo for the acting job. Like, Chris Harrison, wait, you knew she was coming? Talk about have to run it up the hill. Boys, stop it. So finally, we see Piper get a one-on-one. Like, Piper has been patient and she has been waiting on this one-on-one. I'm so happy about this one-on-one. Like, you know, they read the date card. Piper gets a one-on-one. They ride in this G-Wagon and they go to essentially a carnival. And I thought their date was super cute, where they had their little own prizes and she was flirting with Matt. And it was this whimsical moment, but I know that Matt and Piper had shared some moments prior to this episode. So I know they like each other, but for me, it's about whether or not Matt can see Piper as his wife. And I mean, this is just my opinion. It's like, do I see them together? Like, because normally what you're feeling and getting from the episodes is really, for the most part, how they're feeling. Like, I mean, as fans, we know like, oh, that person's feeling this person, or you can just kind of tell in people's body language. So, we did see the carnival date that they had together and it was cute. I just transitioning into the night date with Piper, I honestly felt like she opened up more and shared kind of about who she is and how she relays her own emotions. And then they went to they had a band playing for them. But before I get to the rest of the day, I was like, it's Black History Month. Can we get some more Black performers? Like, y'all knew when this was gonna air. Like, y'all knew when this was gonna air. Like, we need more diverse performers, period, on the show. It's always like the same old same. Like, Bachelor Nation, we need you to spice it up. I mean, you could have put an Asian band up there. I would have been happy. But come on, like, just come on. We need diversity. Like, we need more diversity on this show. Like, I'm tired of seeing it. Same old, same old, same old, same. Like, come on. Like, and to me, Matt was looking at the stage and I'm like, you better look at Piper a little bit closer. But they shared a little intimate moment. But me personally, I do love Piper. I think she's a sweet girl. Do I see her being Matt's wife? Not entirely, but maybe it's because we haven't seen Piper enough. But I can't call Piper right now. There's some other folks in the pipeline I can call. Like, yes, I can definitely see them together. I see the connection. I feel the connection. But with Piper, I think he likes her. I just don't know if it's strong enough for a fiance. So, yeah. So Piper did get her rose, and yeah, I mean, the date was a nice date. Just rewinding for a sec, Piper said, "I'm falling for you," to Matt, and Matt said, "I will continue to be open." To me, that's two separate pages. Like, normally what we've seen prior to this episode is if a woman is feeling Matt and she tells him like, "I'm falling for you." I mean, we've seen it with Rachel, we've seen it with Michelle. He gives them the confirmation and says, "What you're feeling, I'm feeling too." And unfortunately, we didn't hear that when Piper said, "I'm falling in love with you." Matt was like, "I'll continue to be open." That's two separate pages for me. That's what I'm hearing, but we'll see as things continue. So the next thing is the group date. I really don't have a lot to say about this group date. We know it was a bowling date. The two main things that stood out to me were Abigail and Chelsea wanting more time. I just feel so terrible. Like, Abigail, it's not like she's faded to the back. She's not getting time with Matt. And I'm just like, I don't know why he's keeping her around if she's not getting a one-on-one. Remember, guys, she got the first impression rose. The first impression rose. There's no reason why Abigail shouldn't have gotten a one-on-one at this point. And I'm just like, what is Matt struggling with? Like, why hasn't Abigail gotten a one-on-one? I just think, I didn't like that she hadn't gotten a one-on-one. I just wish that she is able to get more time with Matt. I just feel like some of these group dates that she keeps getting thrown on, I just feel like she needs more time with him. And I think the same thing was echoed by Chelsea. She said, "I want more time with him." And that was kind of her speech during the whole episode, is that she wants more time. She wants more time. Matt did, reciprocate her feelings and did let her know that, like, "I'm happy you're here. I want you to be here." So he did give her some more, words of affirmation and let her know that, like, hey, like, I see you, basically. But I just think it's just so hard to get time right now. So I'm hoping that Abigail and Chelsea are able to get more time. So one of the things that we saw on the night group date was it flashed to a couple of different conversations, but we all know Eminem I mean, just the way that Matt lights up when Michelle is around him, ooh, that spark is like fire. I mean, they are so electric. She really is expecting him to meet her expectations just as much as he's expecting her to meet his expectations. And I just feel the chemistry between them. Once again, like we saw them talk, and I just feel they get closer and closer every time they're around each other. She even said that, I mean, they shared like even every time we're around each other, like it just feels right, you know? So I'm really hoping that that we're able to see that relationship progress a little more. But I really feel like Michelle's going to be on hometown, so we'll see. Oh, and I also wanted to call out really quickly Chelsea's dress as well during the night, because Chelsea's dress was green. I feel like on this episode the green dresses were killing it. Like Chelsea had on a green dress for the group night date and she was looking stunning. So I just wanted to make sure, Chelsea, girl, I give you your props. Is it me or is everyone this week saying some form of Matt, I'm falling in love with you? Like, I feel like we've seen it earlier and it's been said earlier in this season than the last couple of seasons I watched. We don't count Claire because we know she was in love with Dale from day one. But I mean, I feel like all of the women are like, I'm falling for you, I'm falling in love with you. And I'm like, sis, it's early. Like, it's early to be saying I'm falling in love with you. Especially, I think Piper said it on her date. And I was just like, Piper, how many dates have you had with Matt? But I guess, like, when you're in that, like, fast paced environment, I guess emotions develop quickly and probably even stronger when you don't have time with that person. But I don't know. I know this is a fast process, but I just feel like the women are like, Matt, I'm falling for you. Like, I don't know if it's just like a safeguard to be like, hey, I'm really, really interested in you or what, but I feel like it's being said a lot. And I also feel like it's kind of been being thrown around. Not to say the women aren't feeling that way, but I'm just like, this week this person's falling in love, and this week this person's falling in love. And it's like, we haven't even really seen that much camera time with some of the people that are saying it. So I don't know. I've never been on the show, so to each their own. Oh, let's talk about this last one-on-one with Katie. Oh my goodness. First and foremost, Matt, when he saw Tyler, he gave Tyler like the biggest hug. I was like, Matt is holding on for dear life for Tyler, like, because when he went to hug him, he just didn't let go. So like, I guess I know how that is, like when you haven't seen someone in a long time, and then on top of that, that's quarantine, that's his best friend. So I was just like, Matt, you gonna let him go? Like, it was cute. And so finally, this one-on-one has arrived. Katie finally gets her one-on-one. And when Matt said we are gonna spend the day at the spa, I'm thinking, ooh, yeah, ooh. We are going to like relax and, talk about what we want. And instead, it was a prank date. Now, don't get me wrong. The prank date was hilarious because I was cracking up. Now, it was funny. But in that same breath, I felt like, damn, I felt like Katie, she deserved like a romantic day to get to know Matt more and for him to get to know her a little bit closer. I kind of felt sorry for her because she's always the fun girl. And I feel like we've seen this on previous seasons also. We saw it with Tayshia's season when Easy went on the date with Tayshia. And it was like a fun night house date. And she was like, I can't imagine going on this date with anyone else because Easy's so fun. But mind you, she also sent Easy home that same night, was like, I don't see a romantic connection with you. Just because someone's fun doesn't make them on the same page as you. And so I was just like, this is the curse of the fun date. Like, the people that go on these fun dates normally do not go back to the house. And I kind of felt bad for Katie when she was on this prank date. And I was like, what is this? And then I was on Twitter and someone had said, like, this isn't a Katie date. This is a date for, Matt to spend time with Tyler. And I was just like, well, kind of got a point, like, unfortunately. And I just felt like Katie deserves so much more one-on-one time and not really a prank date, even though it was funny. So, then they had the little nightcap dinner. where we know that Katie didn't get the rose. But honestly, when they were talking at dinner, as much as I love Katie, even before Matt pulled up the rose and said that like he didn't want to give Katie the rose, I didn't feel like he was feeling her. I feel like Katie is in this episode is like the best friend, like the best girlfriend. Like she's someone that you want at your barbecue. She's someone that you want at your wedding. She's that best friend. But I feel like romantically with Matt, it just didn't click, unfortunately, because she's always just been like so real, so upfront and honest with him. I just don't know if they had enough time to explore that romantic connection. And I just hate that the date was wasted on a prank date for her to get to know Matt better. Like, I feel like the time could have been spent differently. So, Katie, we love you. And I think there is also a rumor going around that Katie is potentially the Bachelorette for the next season. So, if she is, we are rooting for you, Katie. But either way, I hope she finds love. So, another thing that I wanted to call out, I don't know if you guys paid attention when Tyler and Matt were having the conversation about, Matt finding his wife and potentially proposing and getting down on one knee. But Tyler, I feel like he gave some really, really great advice. And to be honest, I remember Tyler a little bit, but I was like, oh, Tyler looks pretty good in this episode. Like, okay, Tyler, you look pretty good. But I feel like the advice that Tyler gave Matt was like, kind of like, don't shut down any of your connections that could potentially happen. And even if you're just now discovering feelings for someone late in the game, like don't count that out. Continue to be open, because people might surprise you. And he shared his experience that he became close later on in the process. So I just felt like his advice was 100%, like especially with this show, like someone could surprise you that you haven't gone on a one-on-one with, and you're like, whoa, where did this person come from? Like, which is exactly what Tyler said. So I hope that Matt continues to be open to the process, even though he thinks that he found his person already. I hope he continues to be open to the process and really take the time to get to know someone on these dates, so that he makes the right decision in the end. Okay, so circling back to Heather. So rounding out this episode, Heather finally gets to come in the house. And I just want to say that Heather looked stunning. I mean, we all know that Heather is beautiful, but and we did see her driving up to the house, which I was like, please don't crash trying to look out the window to this place. As she was driving up, she was looking out the window. I was like, sis, don't crash. But when Heather walked through the door, I mean, wind and hair, dress slay, I mean, Heather looked great. I was like, whoa. Like, if I was one of the girls in the house, I would probably be a little intimidated. Like, oh, shoot. Like, wow, she's very pretty. But we all know that Heather's a sweetheart. But we also all know that Heather needs to have several seats and go home, because, like, this is like, how many times are we going to do this, Heather? Like, girl, like, I want you to find love, but this is not the way. So Heather interrupts Piper. But that was the wrong one to interrupt, because Piper's already fighting for time. So we know Piper's upset. But, she goes to talk to Matt, and I just think that this is too far along. I don't necessarily see Heather getting a rose, but it's a nice attempt. I would be surprised if she got a rose. But I also felt in that same breath when Heather came in, it's like, you don't know what she's coming in to do. You don't know if Heather is Matt's girl best friend. You don't know if Heather has some news. You don't know what she's there for. But then we saw this Mean Girls 2 start all over again, which is exactly what Katie was getting at. But since Katie's gone, let's also remember that we have Jasenia. One of my friends reminded me, I was like, who's gonna take Katie's place? There's nobody. But one of my friends reminded me that Jasenia is still there. And Jasenia will also put people in their place and keep things in check. So I'm glad that there's some level of just responsibility and groundness in the house, because Jasenia will get you all the way together. But I just felt like the girls were I understand that emotions are high, and it's like, dang, we just went through this process like with new girls, but you have to continue to be open. And it was just an example laid before you, and now we're doing this again, and Heather's coming to the house, and we hear Serena C say like, I already don't like her. You don't even know her. You don't even know Heather. Now, we all agree as Bachelor Nation that Heather should go home, but you also don't know Heather to make that judgment. So I think people need to kind of like scale it back. And remember, Matt was sending people home for bullying like 5 minutes ago? Yeah, remember that note and check yourself. Like, do a self check internally. Like, you don't want to be this mean girl. I know the girls are upset, but like, just go meditate, go do some yoga, go get some fresh air, go scream, do something. But don't bully anymore. Like, I'm so sick of this bullying. Like, producers need to stop it. I mean, Heather's so sweet. She just, I don't know what she's doing right now, but we still love Heather. It's just like, it's not the right timing based on what we've seen this season. And I just wish the girls would just have a little bit more compassion for Matt trying to find love as opposed to their own personal gain, and also who could be a threat to that. Oh, and one more note, I did want to call out Bree. Bree did it again. Bree was looking amazing during the night. She had on like this white dress before. This is before the rose ceremony. I think after the camera flashed to her after like Heather walked in. Bree was looking stunning. So go ahead, Bree. Bree's slaying the game, okay, with all the looks. Honorary Rose was very hard because I kind of felt split a little bit about the Honorary Rose. Like, I feel like Chelsea and Abigail equally deserve honorary roses. Like, they both are just so sweet, and they do have a connection with Matt, but they're just not getting that time. So I'm hoping on the next episode that they get that time. I also wanted to issue out a white honorary rose, and this goes to the G-Wagon that was in the episode, because that thing was nice. I was like, ooh, I like this. Like, yes, Piper, you're lucky. You're lucky that your date was G-Wagon friendly. But yes, there's a white honorary rose that goes to the G-Wagon because it was sitting pretty. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.